Hello and welcome to Business Matters, the show about people behind businesses that help make Tacoma a great place to live and work. I'm your host, Mike Wark, and today on In the Spotlight, a great pairing with the Tacoma Winery and the community. On District Focus, we give you a chance to roam the Dome on an urban adventure. And on this episode of Tacoma Means Business, Andrew Fry stays positive on keeping your cash flow rolling. And today my guest is Casey Hubbell, owner of Yoga Wild. Welcome, Casey.
Thank you.
So this is the first time we've had a yoga studio on Business Matters. So this is a really interesting business to me. And yours is unique for a couple of reasons. So tell us about Yoga Wild.
Yoga Wild is a yoga company in Tacoma, and we aim to reach a population outside of the typical yoga demographic.
Okay.
And bring people together under the umbrella of our core values: nature, community, and yoga.
How do they all blend?
We spent our first year nomadic, so we were out in nature and community spaces.
So you held your classes. You were a business, so people pay for your classes, but they're all over.
Right, at Tacoma Nature Center or Foss Waterway Seaport Museum, Happy Belly Restaurant, wherever we could find space, we would teach classes there. And it was a great way for Tacomans to get out and explore their city. We'd have a class at the Esplanade at Foss Waterway, and people would come up and be like, wow, I've never been here before. And it's like, well, how long have you lived in Tacoma? And sometimes 10 years or all their lives. So it was just...
They've never been on the Esplanade.
And never been, or to that museum.
Okay.
And so it's just a really great way to just get out and explore.
So you built a following this way. People like going to different places all the time and doing yoga.
And we built a grassroots movement first, our community, before we opened our brick and mortar, our
That's
studio.
really interesting. It's kind of like a low-risk way to break in, huh?
Well, we've been a self-funded business from the start, so we've done everything we can to keep overhead low and also to help maintain the sliding scale.
Right. Speaking of overhead low, tell me, this is one of the really unique things about your business. Okay, it started wild, and you still do some of that, right?
Yes, yeah, we're
you
still out there.
You go to rooftops?
Rooftop at Alma Mater.
And that's up on the hill looking out over all of Tacoma. That must be beautiful.
It is.
As long as it's not snowing. Yeah, you haven't tried that yet. Good. So anyway, the sliding scale, tell us about that.
So for all of our drop-in classes, whether it's in our studio or at a different location, students choose $10, $5, or good vibes.
Wow.
And we intentionally say good vibes and not free because
Why is that?
we aren't offering a free class. We are just creating space for students to give however they can. So some people may give by bringing a friend or writing a review or sharing on social media. And all of these things really impact a small business. And I know in my life, when I've needed yoga the most is when I couldn't afford it, and life happens.
So why do people seek out yoga when times are tough?
Yoga can be an impactful way to pause or stop going, and to just pay attention. And it really starts with your body first, paying attention to how you're feeling physically. And then it goes deeper, and you really experience what's going on mentally and emotionally. And you have to be able to pay attention to yourself first before you can really pay attention or care to those around you, your community, the environment. And that's where we kind of tie the nature, community, and yoga in.
That's part of the nature part.
Yeah, self-care is a big aspect of yoga, but for us, it's not the end goal. We have to care for ourselves so that we can be responsible, impactful humans and care for a community and care for nature. There's a bigger picture that we keep at the forefront of all of our classes and activities.
So these values flow through everything you do in the community. Do you find that you attract into your business reflect that and are aware of it?
We definitely attract a particular kind of student that is fantastic, especially in our outdoor and our nature space classes. You know, we had classes at Dune Peninsula, and sometimes flocks of birds go overhead and you'll get droppings on your yoga mat. And it's just amazing to see a student just flip their mat over and keep going. You know, it doesn't ruin everything. We offered a series at Wapato Park in the pavilion, so overlooking the lake, and it was gorgeous, but it was, there was ants everywhere, like the biggest ants I've ever seen in my entire life. And so at first I just stocked up on cinnamon, and we'd make like a cinnamon circle around the yoga mats.
Yeah.
It didn't feel right, like spraying chemicals around
It
the
smelled
space.
good, I'm sure.
It did, and then it got windy, and so that was not a long-term solution. So then I just started carrying a broom with me, and I would just walk around the mats teaching class and occasionally sweeping the ants away. And we went through our 6-week series with only one person getting bit.
Wow.
And it was someone I knew, so it didn't feel so bad. But that's just a different kind of student. And that's when you practice in a studio, you kind of get a false sense of control, where you can control the temperature and the lighting and the music, and all of these things are really almost a little sterile sometimes. But
Consistent, expected.
Yeah, and when we're out in nature or in the community, like there's going to be loud noises or bangs or things that come up, and learning how to deal with those unexpected challenges and just keep going and breathing.
There's also nature. You experience and hear nature in different ways as well when you're turned in that way.
Absolutely. And when we're at the rooftop at Alma Mater, we're there June through August. So when you come in June, it's still really chilly and everyone has layers and blankets with them. And July is usually pretty pristine. And then by August, it's getting darker sooner and you're bringing those layers back. And so returning to a same place in nature over and over and getting to see the seasonal changes and what's going on in the community is really impactful as well.
And on your website, you have a beautiful photograph of the rooftop yoga classes. It looks amazing. So for those that you're trying to attract who haven't experienced yoga, you talk about being aware, but there's another part of that. Once you're aware of yourself, you can, I don't know if control is the right word, but there's things you can do to be more at peace, more relaxed. How do you talk about that?
Well, in all of our classes, whether we're in studio or outside, breath, breathing, pranayama is essential. And just learning how to pay attention to your breath. Often in our day when we are in this constant go or anxiety or stress, our breath can be really up here in the chest and throat, which can also cause more anxiety. And in yoga, we're paying attention to deep breathing and lower, longer breaths, things that can activate our parasympathetic nervous system and help us stay less reactive.
More calm.
More calm.
Parasympathetic. That's a big word. So what does that mean?
And it's the nervous system that allows us to make choices and stay calm when things come up. So yoga or breathing, you can practice every day. It's not going to make hard stuff not happen.
Right.
What we're learning to do is cultivate the skill to sit and breathe and make choices.
Mm-hmm. And when you're calm and breathing, your brain works better. You think more clearly. And you're more comfortable and less stressed. Yeah. So real quickly, you have a range of types of courses. Yes.
So a majority of our drop-ins in the studio are is called a vinyasa style class. So you're moving with your breath. We go at a moderate pace. Our studio does not have mirrors or we're not heated. We keep it about 85. And we have classes at 7 a.m. in the morning, so you get time to move and breathe to start your day. We have classes during the day, in the evening. We have 18 a week, so there's 18 at sliding scale, 10, 5 are good vibes. We are adding a couple meditation classes, lunchtime meditation classes to the schedule soon. We also offer series that can go deeper into different aspects of yoga.
So like 1 month or 2 month or 3 month series?
We do it in like 3 or 6 weeks.
Okay.
And we offer a beginner series the first 3 Mondays every month at 4:30. So that's a nice way. And we just talk about all the things, questions people have,
so
the
you
etiquette.
can work into it from beginner to more advanced, which is more paced. And there's a really strong exercise component to this too, right? It helps with fitness.
Yeah, in the drop-in classes, you'll definitely build strength and flexibility, mobility.
And learn how to think clearly and be less stressed. And there's also something I read about on your site where you just learn in 2 minutes how to calm yourself so that you can take a moment, right?
Yeah.
How does that work?
Well, even stepping into a yoga studio can be intimidating, or the idea of a 60-minute class can be scary, or wearing the right clothes, all of these things.
Or going into a meeting or going to give a speech.
Exactly. And so learning that you don't have to take this full hour for a class. You can learn these skills and spend 2 minutes right before you go into work or a meeting or a test.
To calm yourself, and it helps you think clearly and be less stressed.
Exactly.
Okay, so there's all kinds of benefits. Health, calmness, being connected with nature and communities. Sounds great. Like a great business. I'm ready to go. Well, Casey, thank you for being our guest today.
Thank you.
Coming up, growth and walkability of Tacoma's Dome District on District Focus. Connecting people to business is what Tacoma is all about. The Tacoma Dome serves as a hub in our city. The iconic building is surrounded by a cadre of eclectic businesses, including some sweet shops, a brewery, and one of the most popular car museums in the country.
Hi, I'm Janice McNeil. Welcome to the Dome District. The district is distinctive in serving as the regional transportation hub. It's a multimodal transit-oriented district.
We've partnered together to reach out to Sound Transit and Amtrak and all of these the big powerful players that are here in our neighborhood to help us stay in business.
And we have 5 bus companies with express bus and shuttle service to Seattle, plus light rail to University of Washington and downtown Tacoma and nearby community.
And being a transportation district, what I'm noticing a lot lately is how many people I'm seeing exploring the area, looking at all the new little businesses that are here, and just trying to find more with the city of Tacoma.
Us being able to bring in on a successful weekend day, or let's even say throughout the holiday crunch, 1,000 people a day, that's got to be able to do something for local area businesses.
On the horizon is light rail service from our Tacoma station to SeaTac Airport and connections to Seattle.
Our whole area is in such a big renaissance right now. The whole district is going to change in the next few years because of all of the new apartments that are being built, the creative reuse of these old vintage buildings that we have down here.
We have new businesses popping in, and we have old partnerships with the museum, with the university coming in and being just half-mile away. It's really helping to revitalize the whole area. And we're seeing new partnerships almost weekly.
We need to be able to offer culinary experiences. We need to be able to offer educational experiences, family experiences, all those kinds of things. What I hope you'll see is this whole new personality about America's Car Museum come to life with all sorts of activities, experiences, and events, and that should make us quite prominent within the community.
This is going to be a place where you will have apartments, where you can jump onto the link, you can get to Seattle, you can go south, and just be connected to the area.
We're going to just invite the world to come and see Tacoma and how we have changed.
You can easily find your way when you're visiting in the Dome District by the iconic dome in the backdrop.
For more information on experiencing Tacoma business, log on to experiencetacoma.com. When we return, Andrew Fry on understanding cash flow for your business. Balance is a key element in maintaining a successful business. On this segment of Tacoma Means Business, Andrew Fry says keeping your company on its feet depends on a positive cash flow.
I was having a coffee conversation with a friend of mine who's also starting a business. A brilliant man, has several patents, and has put together some solutions that I think are going to actually disrupt industry. So I'm very excited about it. He's out there at this point in time, and he was talking to me about how he needed to find more cash for his company in order to keep it operating over the next 6 months to a year. So I asked him, now how much are you going to need? And he said, well, I calculated my burn rate, my monthly burn rate, and I think that if I had this much money, I could be good for about a year. And I said to him, well, haven't you actually already landed some contracts? And he said, yeah, I have. I said, well, how much are those contracts worth? And it turned out that they were worth approximately 40 to 50% of what he thought he needed in order to keep the company rolling. So he'd calculated his cash burn, but he hadn't factored in the influx of cash from product sales and contracts. And that's why it's very important that you think about cash flow. So cash flow is the flow of money. It's the money that's coming into your business and the money that's moving out. It's a flow. It's important to have positive cash flow. More money coming in than going out. Of course, anything that's simple gets a little bit more complicated because the money that's coming in is coming in from time of purchase, oftentimes when they're paying with cash or credit card, but it's also coming in from contract sign or invoices. And although you count that as revenue, it's not the flow of the cash until the invoices are paid. The cash that's flowing out comes in the form of your employee pay, the salaries and so on, but equipment purchases, any bills that you need to make certain that you pay, like your rent, electricity, and so on. And that amount has to be less than what you're drawing in monthly in order to be a positive cash flow. So 3 things I want to mention about cash flow. Number 1, it's very important for any starting business. A company that's getting started really does need to calculate how much is going to come in. And the mistake that you can make is to think that everyone pays their bills. Because the truth is, even if you have the revenues in and you count on that being paid in 30 days for the month, sometimes people take just a little bit longer in order to make that payment. And that can affect your cash flow as well. The truth of it is, when your cash flow, when your cash in is less than your cash out, it's called running out of money. And when you're running out of money and you're starting a business, it means you're done. So the second thing is that you should be paying attention to seasonal businesses, because you can be a profitable company, but understand that your costs are going to change in whatever seasons come about. If you're selling swimming pools, get ready for a bleak winter. If you are selling heaters, then understand that perhaps winter is a good time of the year for you. And certainly, almost every product-based company has a Christmas season or holiday season where more revenue can come in than not. So it's important to understand your cash flow then, as you don't want to get caught. You could be doing fine. You could be bringing positive cash flow in for 6 months in a row, and then you hit that downturn. And if you haven't planned for it, your expenses can stay the same, but your cash flow in is going to go down. So seasonal businesses need to pay attention to cash flow. And the third thing is, don't confuse cash flow with profit. Profit's great, and you want a profitable company. That's really a good selling point for any business, but you still need to pay your expenses. And what if you're building equity in your company and you're profitable and you're buying equipment that makes your company more valuable? When you count up all the assets, yay, assets are higher than what your liabilities are at the time. But if your cash runs out, you're still done. So you need to make certain that you understand what is coming in to your business that you can then turn around and pay off what has to go out. And that's generally speaking what cash flow is and why it's important. We'll look at the idea of how to analyze your cash flow next time around.
Thanks, Andrew. For more tips on growing your business, check out Tacoma's Community and Economic Development Program at makeittacoma.com. When Business Matters returns, in the spotlight, a delicious business on 6th Avenue in Tacoma. Today in the spotlight, we raise a glass to a Tacoma winery that's been around for almost 2 decades.
I'm Susie Totten, and this is Aquino Winery.
Aquino Winery is a family-owned business on 6th Avenue in Tacoma. They make wine, they bottle wine, they sell and serve their wine, a compact business with plenty of spunk.
We were started in 2001 by the family. It was 10 owners. We make our own wine here. We make mead here. We bottle it, everything here in-house, cork it, everything.
Aquino wines are sold on-site, but they also have some distribution points across Tacoma. Online sales are lucrative and gaining momentum.
We're carried only in a couple stores locally. We've had a few restaurants carry us, but we're mostly here. We have an online store, we deliver.
Owners Megan and Deanne reach out to the community through events that feature music, community pride, and plenty of nonprofit support.
The Crystal Judson fundraiser wine bottles we do, they have their own logo on the front, and half of the price of every bottle we sell here goes to them.
Vino Aquino developed and built a customer base through events, including art exhibitions and neighborhood gatherings, to name a few.
We have a lot of regular customers, a lot of long-time 10, 12-year customers.
Susie says many new customers are connecting well with them via social media.
All the new ones, we usually get them from word of mouth, social media, or the mobile wine walks that we do.
The art of making wine and mead is actually a manufacturing process wrapped around retail. Susie is the lead vintner for Vino Aquino. She learned the craft and fermented her experience on the job.
I used to volunteer with the old winemaker, and he taught me everything he knew. Then Megan, she's been making wine 20 years, and she taught me everything she knew. And then Uncle Stan, Stan Jordan, who used to be the winemaker here for like 14 years, he came in and he started teaching me. So I had 3 teachers, so I was able to develop my own style.
Susie loves diving into her wines, babying them as necessary to get the best from the grapes. She knows mead too, and understands the primary ingredients of the inventory have to be first rate.
Well, each year we purchase 2 tons of grapes of various flavors. We do it in small batches to keep the quality and flavor consistent.
At Vino Aquino, wine production goes hand in hand with retail sales. Vino Aquino's event hours and floor room purchases complement customers' needs for relaxing and having a good time. Susie is quick to point out that Vino Aquino's family history has evolved into a woman-run business that is driven to succeed.
It is a female-run winery. There are 2 owners, Deanne Pavolka, Megan Messina Bostic, and then under her is me. And then we have a couple volunteer bartenders that come in for these special events.
The foundation for Vino Aquino's success is built on the family history of the store's owners.
Great-grandpa Giuseppe, he moved here in the 1800s, and his family is all local, mostly in the Narrows North End. They started in the Days and Reeves building. The first few years they were open. They've been in this location 10 years. They want to stay on 6th Avenue and stay local to Tacoma.
That's it for Business Matters. Join me next time for more insight into the Tacoma business scene. See you then.